I've asked 2,246 music producers what is the best DAW software for music production. And this is what they said. And on the last place, Avid Pro Tools. The only reason that I put Pro Tools on the poll list is because I know that this is the industry standard software for recording studios, so the recording studios for big bands. The problem with Pro Tools is that it was industry standard for years. Avid got a little bit lazy and didn't develop Pro Tools as much as other DAW manufacturers. Other DAWs caught up big time and offer a much more richer feature set than the Pro Tools does, and for less money. On spot number 5, Cakewalk by Bandlab. Cakewalk was pretty new to me because I had a Mac for years and never was able to test it because it's a Windows only app, but now I tested it and I actually quite like it. The user interface might be a bit overwhelming as a beginner because it's a lot, but I've seen 30 DAWs or so over the years and I can really easy navigate around just by clicking. I know what stuff means. That is a huge pro. The interface looks nice. Plugins and sounds are on the right, timeline in the middle and the properties and 2 channel strips on the left. The app is completely free, although the name-giving schedule of Bandlab and Cakewalk by Bandlab is confusing, as is the installation process, but you can use third-party VST instruments, which not a lot of free apps allow you to do, especially the online ones. And this is a DAW I would absolutely recommend. Before I continue to the next DAW, viewers often ask me which DAW is better for which genre, but there is no DAW specifically better for a certain genre like EDM or trap or so. Basically every DAW can do the same thing, but in a different way. Hits are produced with every DAW in this list, and if any of these DAWs wouldn't suffice, music producers wouldn't use it. On my shared 5th place with Cakewalk is Apple's Logic. And when I think of Logic, I think of bugs, and the frustration of Apple not fixing them. The software is very responsive and looks gorgeous. I like the fact that you have 2 channel strips on the left side of the screen, just like you have with Cakewalk. The amount of stock plugins in Logic is pretty extensive, but nothing to write home about in terms of quality or functionality. I hate the system overload messages when you choke your CPU. Any other DAW crackles a little bit, but in Logic you have to press spacebar and then enter to get the message away, spacebar, enter. That is annoying. Some personal pros and cons. I'll start with the pros. It has support for ARA or ARA plugins. You can open GarageBand files, which is the free little brother of Logic, and it has integrated voice pitch correction. Some cons. Well, the track freezing works incredibly annoying and time stretching works annoying. Logic is very complete for its price, $200, but it is only available for the Mac and not Windows. On number 4 in this list, Mario Paint. And Mario Paint is probably one of the oldest DAWs in this list. It was originally developed in 1992 by Nintendo. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't do this with a straight face. Then on the real number 4, a dinosaur of a DAW, originally released in 1989, Cubase. To use Cubase you have to use a USB dongle, even for the trial version. They just don't want you to test out the software. For the B-roll I stuck with the free Elements version. You first have to create a Steinberg account and confirm it with a code you get via email. Then they send you a download link via email. The download leads to a website that lets you download the assistant. When you download the assistant, you have to authorize the assistant in your browser. Once the download is done, nothing happens. Open the folder, there is a program that you can install. And it doesn't work either! I really tried, but they really don't want you to test the software. And when I look at Google Trends, I'm apparently not the only one that is frustrated. Cubase is $600 without the dongle, and then pray on your knees to God that you can run the software. There are a lot of programs out there that do something with audio, but that doesn't make them DAWs. I'm talking about audio editors like Audition and Audacity, which a lot of people mistake for DAWs. Although technically yes, you could create a song with it, but it is not very convenient and it is very time consuming. And on place number 3, a DAW that I was really surprised to see on this spot, because a couple of years ago nobody has heard of this DAW, and in a short time it conquered the DAW market. Studio One. The amount of integrated stock plugins is extensive, so everything you could possibly need is already in the DAW, but yeah, I'm not really a fan of the integrated synthesizers. However, Studio One has a lot of stability issues on both Windows and on Mac. Literally, the first start of Studio One on this brand new computer was a crashed Studio One. Support tickets are often not answered, and if they are answered, their standard response is always, it's the plugins, it's not us. Also, the GUI becomes very sluggish and unresponsive when projects are getting bigger, so finishing songs in Studio One is an absolute nightmare.
I name a few things I like about this software. First of all, the search feature for plugins, presets and files. Also, you can drag and drop your plugins on your project. Also, the editor clips stick really nicely to the grid. Then the preview file browser with auto tempo adjust to your project. I like also the scratch pad just to try things out. Automation, right click on a point and just enter a value. Then the range tool from Pro Tools, so the upper section of a clip means something different than the lower section of a clip when you hover over it with the mouse. With one you edit and with the other you grab the clip.
Some of the cons: 3 very confusing option screens, buggy AU plugin support, too many updates and paying for every single one of them. Studio One is €400 for a full version. On spot number 2, a DAW that everyone confuses with the name of the company. I'm talking about Live, and when I say Live nobody knows what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Ableton Live. Ableton started out as live performance software. You can load in loops and you can trigger them, and Ableton starts then exactly on the beat. Later they expanded the software with non-linear features, and especially the combination and the exchange between the live and the DAW capabilities is what makes this software so incredibly powerful. The stock plugins in Ableton are pretty good, however the glue compressor is absolutely worth mentioning because of its sound capabilities. The plugins are shown at the bottom of the screen, which is very handy, but only the stock plugins show you settings with proper knobs. With third-party plugins you have to program really dull knobs. The plugin pane is not resizable, however. It is there or it's not, but when it's there it takes up a lot of space. Personally, I like the workflow of Ableton a lot, and I think it's one of the easiest DAWs to start with as a beginner. It's fast, easy to use, and it doesn't seem overly complicated, while all the features when you become a pro are still in the software. The editing works super smooth and the cursor on the timeline is heavenly to work with. It's a little bit like Lego blocks and the snapping on the grid is super on point. Some personal pros and cons. I'll start with the pros. The layout of the user interface and the time stretching is really easy. 2 cons: the dated looks of the user interface, and it is incompatible with Wacom tablets. If you would ask me for a recommendation, I would say Ableton Live. I revisited the DAW for the making of this video and I can't stress enough how much I like this DAW. Ableton is one of the more expensive DAWs out there, and it is available for Mac and Windows. The complete version is around €600. The list in this video is by no means a complete list of all the DAWs out there, so let us know in the comments what is your favorite DAW or which DAW are you considering, and then at least name 3 pros and 3 cons, so it is really useful for people to read over the comments. And then on number 1, FL Studio. FL Studio is the most used DAW on the planet and the favorite of many big EDM producers like Martin Garrix, Mesto, Afrojack and formerly Avicii. Those are all Dutch or, well, at least European guys. Some producers don't take FL Studio very seriously because it has a somewhat unconventional workflow. Some hate it, some love it. I personally can't work with the software, I find DAWs like Ableton Live or Logic much more intuitive, and because of that unconventional workflow, I think it is much harder to switch to another DAW later. Some personal pros and cons. I'll start with the pros. The integrated step sequencer to help you with making drums quickly, the easy to use sound goodizer to make your synthesizer instantly sound better with compression and saturation. The cons is the 100 tutorials you need to watch to get started. In contrast to other DAWs in this list, it is not necessary to buy the full version to get every feature you need. You can do with a much cheaper version. The full version of FL Studio is 500 euros. I would say download trial versions of 3 DAWs that you saw in this video and see which one you like best. If you want to start with a free DAW, check out the video here on the screen. If you are a YouTube creator, then check out my YouTube advice channel. The link is here in the screen and also in the description below.